Hi everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another royal news video. So a big congratulations to the Sidley twins, some of you that came along and said hello when I made an appearance on there alongside lots of other YouTubers. They managed to reach their goal in raising money for the animals also affected by the wildfires. Now let's get on to the royal news. We have some lovely stories from the Prince and the Princess of Wales, but we're going to start with Prince William, who made an appearance at the annual College of Paramedics Emergency and Critical Care Conference in Birmingham. The Prince has just been made patron of the organisation, and he gave an address to the crowded room where he paid tribute to the nation's paramedics, describing their workforce as a Swiss Army knife of frontline care. In his speech, he said, "Saving lives is not the only challenge you face. In your role, you are here for people in the most critical and emotional moments, having to display care and skill in highly stressful and often distressing circumstances. Your ability to calm the patient, to listen to their fears, to reassure them that help has arrived is just as important as the subsequent medical intervention." Prince William became an air ambulance pilot after he qualified with the Royal Air Force as a search and rescue pilot. He has not only continued to support the emergency services with the Royal Foundation, but he has also become a patron to the London Air Ambulance as well as the College of Paramedics, and also launched Mind's Blue Lights Together project back in 2021, which is designed to help people working and volunteering in the emergency services with mental health supports. Having had the job himself, he understands the daily pressures that these incredible men and women face each day. It's such an important and emotional job. It's obvious he cares greatly about other people's well-being, especially in one of possibly, I would say, one of the hardest careers that you can choose. Now, because Prince William was in Birmingham, he decided to do an extra pit stop, and he popped into a Wetherspoons pub near the train station and got together with some Aston Villa fans. As they say, when in Rome. His visit to Birmingham just happened to coincide with a big Premier League game between Everton and Aston Villa, which I can report, as most of you probably know that follow the football, Prince William's team, Aston Villa, won. Who knows, perhaps his visit worked as a good luck charm for the team. He popped into the pub and happily posed for selfies, bought a round of drinks and talked shop with the football fans. William had said that he wanted to be kept in the loop about the team and everything that's been going on with them. One fan said, "He was fantastic. I was quite amazed about how engaged he was about the club. His interest was genuine. He's not a fair weather fan. He really loves the club with a passion." One thing football fans cannot stand, and they can smell them off from a mile, is a fake fair weather fan. And Prince William is anything but. He's supported Aston Villa since he was at school. He is often seen screaming, cheering, sometimes commiserating in the stands alongside lots of other fans. Sometimes he even takes Prince George along, and they just look like any other father and son having a good old day out at the football. Now, it's quite the boost for Wetherspoons to have a royal visit, that's for sure, because Wetherspoons is not the sort of place that you would expect a member of the royal family to be, just having a pint in. Wetherspoons, I don't know how I can explain it to you outside of the UK. They're a chain of pubs. They're all the same. It doesn't matter if you go into one that's up in Newcastle or Tunbridge Wells, and they're cheap. They do good meal deals if that's your sort of thing. It's, a curry and a pint for a fiver sort of job. I've never really particularly warmed to them. I often find that one thing that seems to be common with them is the food's never quite cooked properly and the floors are sticky. So needless to say, I'm sure Wetherspoons are going to be pushing the fact that they had the future heir to the UK and the Commonwealth rounds enjoying their services. As for the people that were taking selfies with Prince William, could you imagine, though, going to the pub, especially a Wetherspoons, a train station pub before a football match? You'd come home from the football and your family would be there and you'd say, "I had a few drinks with Prince William." Your kids would be like, "Mum, he's drunk again." And you'd have to whip out your phone to prove to people that, yes, Prince William was definitely there in a Wetherspoons having a drink before he caught his train home. Now, in some more news stories, this involves the Prince and the Princess of Wales. They have both been made joint patrons of the Royal Marsden Hospital based in London. The hospital was the first place that Princess Diana, William's mother, just in case people forget and believe that she's only Harry's mother, She had her first solo engagement at the hospital. Prince William has also worked there on work experience back in 2005, and he was also appointed president of the Royal Marsden NHS Foundation Trust back in 2007, following in his mother's footsteps. But sadly, the hospital became a very big part of Prince William and Catherine's life when unexpectedly last year, Catherine was diagnosed with cancer after her abdominal operation. And as it turns out, this is the hospital where she received her chemotherapy. The Princess of Wales paid a visit to the hospital herself on Tuesday, the 14th of January, and she shared the amazing news that she is now in remission, which is wonderful. It's obvious that she and her family have known the news for a little amount of time, enjoying it really. I mean, considering how sometimes you never know how it's gonna go, obviously with cancer, it's wonderful that she's had this amazing news less than a year after the initial diagnosis, and I couldn't be happier for the entire family. In what was seen as an incredibly powerful moment captured by my favourite royal photographer, Chris Jackson, Catherine walked up the steps and into the hospital through the front door for the first time. Because Catherine was obviously trying to keep her treatment where she was having it all under wraps and having some privacy, Catherine was always smuggled in through the back door, so this was quite a big moment for her. Catherine thanked the medical staff that have treated her, and a lot of love was shown for the princess, who spent time talking with many patients that were there, now sitting in the same place she herself only did months ago. I'm in no doubt Catherine would have lifted these people's spirits regardless of the fact that she herself has had cancer, because she's such a sweet person. But knowing that she's experienced and been through not just the treatments that these people were receiving, but also experiencing some of the same emotions many of them are no doubt going through, I'd imagine it made the visit seem a lot more genuinely comforting rather than someone just expressing kind words. Catherine has been where they are. She is a cancer warrior herself, and I'm in no doubt that means a lot to those that she spoke to. Catherine chatted to one lady who is in the middle of her chemotherapy treatment and said, "It's really tough. It's such a shock. Everyone said to me, please keep a positive mindset. It makes such a difference." Catherine was really open and honest about her treatment and how she felt. She also told a couple of patients to make sure that you keep doing the things that give you joy. It makes you appreciate all the small things in life that you take for granted. Kensington Palace said that the princess wanted to make the journey to both show her gratitude to the incredible team, but also highlight the world-leading care and treatment that the Marsden provides. Not only did Catherine highlight the incredible support and treatment she received at the hospital, but she really made some of the staff and patients' day, including Rebecca Mendelssohn, who shared a hug with the princess and said she felt a bit rubbish and it really perked her up. She told the Daily Mail, "When someone hugs you, there's a hug and there's a hug." And that hug lasted quite a while, and this hug meant something. She was so genuine that you felt it. I thought that was such a lovely thing for Rebecca to tell people in that wonderful experience for her, clearly, and I hope the memory keeps her smiling throughout the rest of her treatments. So now that I've softened you all up a little bit, now get ready. It's time for a bit of eye rolling, because the saviour of Los Angeles, the LA baseball cap wearing saint that is Meghan, is back. And of course, this news of Meghan's latest secret surprise visit got released within 24 hours of the news of Catherine's visit to the hospital and the news that she's in remission. It's clear that Meghan is definitely not listening to any of the backlash that she received as she and Harry traipsed over the ruins of people's homes at the weekend. This time, Meghan was photographed conveniently as she arrived at the Altadena Girls Fire Recovery Group. This is a lovely initiative set up by a 14-year-old girl who wanted to get people to donate beauty products and clothes to help young women and teenagers that have lost absolutely everything. And I think at 14 years old and she's managed to do that, that's quite inspirational. Gwyneth Paltrow has donated over $2 million worth of donations and products from her company Goop to go to various charities and organisations, including Altadena Girls. But unlike Meghan, Gwyneth didn't feel the need to have her photograph taken outside as she arrived. One of the reasons why people say that Meghan is so ingenuine when she does things like this is her insistence on having Meghan a photograph and then a social media post to accompany it. Not only that, Town and Country were the ones that had the news reported to them that she wasn't there alone. She took a team of Archewell staff with her. Meghan made sure her logoed bags were on display. Our Place is a posh kitchenware company owned by one of Meghan's latest new friends that hosted the Welcome Project and provided an all-expenses-paid shopping trip to the women who run it. Presumably, Meghan decided to keep the bags for a rainy day, just in case. The fact Town and Country were informed that Meghan donated clothing, beauty products, and also bought lunch for volunteers, it was clearly another chance for Meghan to run to the media to make sure that she gets positive coverage. And I fear that Meghan is just getting warmed up. She's got, less than 8 weeks until With Love Meghan launches. That's a lot of time for Meghan to bank a lot of these secret and private outings. Surprise appearances galore, a different baseball cap every appearance. It's pretty obvious that Meghan, if she wanted to, she could have just got her staff to drop off the stuff. But Meghan, how would she have got her photo opportunity? Which, to be fair, this time kind of backfired on her, because the young lady that Meghan was trying to hug clearly did not want to be hugged. She had her arms folded and she backed away from her, ruining Meghan's caring and compassionate moment. Not everybody wants to be hugged, especially by strangers, especially when they possibly know that they are on camera. Luckily for Meghan, she managed to find someone else later that didn't have any qualms with posing for a nice smiley photograph. But it's when this photograph came up, found by Meghan's mole, it caused a few people to go, she's still playing her games when it comes to the Princess of Wales. Because where this photograph was uploaded, it was revealed that Meghan had actually visited this place on Monday. So it was banked, it was sitting there ready and waiting. And then, of course, within 24 hours of Catherine's appearance, Meghan has been photographed secretly volunteering yet again. Not only that, it was made very clear that Meghan went there with Archewell staff as well. So you know what that's about. It's the same reason why she made a point of saying that Archewell is in partnership with World Central Kitchen. Meghan is back to grifting donations for her foundation, and as you know, they only have to give away 5% and can keep 95% of donations because they registered it in Delaware. Thankfully, more and more people are coming forward and they see straight through Meghan these days, and no amount of baseball caps is going to stop that. Now, moving away from Meghan, let's talk about Harry, who is going to be leaving his wife and his children again shortly as he makes an appearance in the UK to battle it out with another dragon. Harry's court case is about to start shortly, where Harry is expected to take the stand for even up to 4 days. But Harry's had a brief win in his battle over security, and Mark Rowley, who is in charge of the Met Police, has granted Harry royal protection for his few days that he's here. I guess if you can just give him a little bit to make him be quiet, it's possibly given other people a little bit of peace. Harry and Meghan are hardly anything but quiet when they want something or when they're making demands. So Harry and Meghan, as I said at the end of the last video, their arrogance and their levels of self-importance are now officially off the charts. We're going to start with a story which came out a couple of weeks ago, and that was to do with Harry and Meghan's car chase that we all know didn't happen in New York. It came to light that Harry had demanded that the New York Police Department arrest the paparazzi that were involved in the near catastrophic car chase. No arrests were made, and of course Harry then got an angry letter sent by the vice president of his private security firm to make the demands on his behalf. In a letter to Chief Hart of the New York Police Department, Harry demanded that arrests be made, or Harry was going to complain to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office or higher up, and that they had contacted the office of the Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, to assist them. Well, Gavin Newsom's name's brought up again. It's all a bit bizarre, isn't it? I've never quite gotten over the fact that Gavin Newsom defended them for their late filings of their company paperwork. work. It seems that Harry and Meghan seem to be quite tight with the Newsom couple. Despite Harry's demands and the pressure applied to the New York Police Department, the paparazzi were not arrested. I say thankfully because I do not believe in this instance they did anything wrong. And thankfully for them, they took a lot of footage, which, to be fair, I think basically covers their bottom because it shows all the silliness that Harry and Meghan did, from getting out of their security vehicles, jumping into an unregistered taxi with a driver, a complete stranger, from their security guards getting out of the way, getting out of the vehicle, the one vehicle that they are now in, allowing the paparazzi to surround them, blocking off roads so the police couldn't get past. I would say that the footage that Getty Images has is far more damning than anything that Harry and Meghan have, which is also strange because it was reported that Harry didn't want to hand over the footage that he took on his iPhone while sitting in the back of the taxi. I can imagine that Harry and Meghan then made demands, if you remember, to Getty Images that they wanted all of the videos and the photos because they didn't want photographs like this being released of Meghan smiling like the cat that caught the canary. Not very conducive for Meghan fearing for her life, and Doria looked like that she was so bored she was just playing Candy Crush. "We hereby demand that Backgrid immediately provide us," they went on, blah, blah, blah. Backgrid's lawyers shot back straight away and said, "In America, I'm sure you know, property belongs to the owner of it. Third parties cannot just demand it be given to them, as perhaps kings do. Basically, bugger off, you little immature man-baby prince." So from making demands of the Queen of the UK to the New York Police Department, Backgrid, you can see here their sense of imperiousness, again, as I said, is completely off the charts. They even tried to demand that Spotify deplatform Joe Rogan, the streaming giant's biggest player, which obviously, quite like the New York Police Department and Backgrid, they were again ignored. But it would seem that they are continuing down this path of making demands of others. In a furious statement released by the couple, they have thrown their toys out of the pram yet again in a strongly 658-worded statement because Mark Zuckerberg is removing censorship from Meta. Yes, free speech is back and Harry and Meghan don't like that one bit. Remember when Harry first moved to America and said the First Amendment was bonkers? You think he would have learned his lesson from the backlash from Americans then, but no, Harry more recently at the New York Deal Book, he rudely told Andrew Ross Sorkin to read a book, if you remember, by Mary Anne Franks called Fearless Speech, Breaking Free of the First Amendment, a powerful debunking of First Amendment orthodoxy, critiques reckless speech which endangers vulnerable groups, and elevates fearless speech. Thankfully, no mint leaves required. But clearly you can see that Harry has a lot of disdain for one of your founding fathers' greatest things that, to be honest with you, with the way our government's going, arresting people for tweets and Facebook posts, we're very envious of over in the UK and I think Europe on the whole. And just to remind people or people outside of America that do not know, I'm going to read a statement by one of America's founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin, because it explains perfectly in one paragraph as to why Harry and Meghan are not happy. "In those wretched countries where a man cannot call his tongue his own, he can scarce call anything his own. Whoever would overthrow the liberty of a nation must begin by subduing the freeness of speech, a terrible thing to public traitors." There you go. That's why Harry and Meghan are not happy, because they are all part of the censorship brigade. Harry and Meghan want to find a way to silence their critics so they and their rich friends and political allies can continue doing what they want without people being able to question. So as for the couple's statement, well, let's just say it is overflowing with nauseating self-importance. They demand that Meta reverse the new changes for the safety of others. According to Meghan and Harry, removing the fact checkers, which is basically the biased censorship that we saw in action throughout the last presidential election. We've seen it in the UK. We saw it throughout the pandemic. Facebook got in a lot of trouble because they were censoring only one side of the argument. So Mark Zuckerberg is definitely backtracking at alarming speed. Harry and Meghan are insisting that in the removal of this censorship, it is actually silencing confidence in free speech and accuses them of a lack of integrity and being deeply deceptive. I think that's what's called the pot calling the kettle black there, don't you? They rattle on about public safety, destroying democracy, disregarding responsibility for profit, which will affect billions of people. Obviously, because Meghan feels so passionately and strongly about this, she will be deleting her Instagram account in protest. No, I don't think so either. These changes will lead to a global crisis, they spout on, and they urge Meta to reconsider as they call upon leaders across industries to not kowtow to bullying. Yes, the dictator in high heels, the demon duchess, who has bullied the Queen in her final years, and her husband, Harry, who has quite clearly been bullying his family for the last few years. He bullied his grandparents into the grave with claims of racism. All of the attacks that he's done on his family as well, when you think that he knows that they publicly can't fight back. This is a bully hit, knowing that the people they're hitting cannot defend themselves. Who are the bullies, really? Harry and Meghan are certainly not in any position to preach about disinformation or misinformation when you consider how much they themselves have put out into the universe. They are the script, the comedy script that writes itself. A washed-up cable TV actress who once managed to hold a briefcase on Deal or No Deal, admittedly I think for a handful of episodes, who nobody had ever really heard of, and a washed-up, arrogant, spoilt prince that turned his back on honour, duty, service, Queen, country and his family, both preaching about integrity. You really couldn't make it up, could you? I have honestly never heard of another celebrity, a royal, a politician that has got such an overinflated sense of self-importance as those two. Harry and Meghan are of no importance. They are two civilians. They have no influence, no power, and on the world stage, they are completely insignificant. They don't even have the prestige of being royals anymore, as they quit, then tried to burn the monarchy to the ground, all for their 30 pieces of silver. Nobody takes them seriously because they've become so ridiculous. Now, that being said, I honestly think that Meghan and Harry could solve one global crisis together, and that is the fact that the planet is heating up. You know, Harry likes to talk about this at regular intervals as he jumps from one private jet to the next. Harry and Meghan could definitely contribute in lowering the world's temperature if they just simply stop spouting so much hot air. So guys, that's it for me on this video. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I will be back with you very soon. Take care for now. Bye.